Now, Leslie McCormick of the Farwell Group, author of Bank on Yourself, Why Every Woman Should Plan to Be Financially Single Even If She's Not, joins us. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, Marilyn.
So what do you have for us today?
Today I'm going to talk about estate planning and your place in the sun. There are a lot of people who own property and spend a lot of time outside of Canada. Whether that property is in the sunny south, say Florida or Arizona, or that foreign property is further afield. Maybe it's a connection to your family and your homeland. If you own a property outside of Canada, it's really important to understand the potential impact on your estate plan and your legacy. Firstly, let's talk about your will. Anne is an Ontario resident. Her husband passed away a few years ago, and she continues to own and enjoy their condo in Naples, Florida. Since her husband passed away, she now solely owns that property. For Anne's eventual estate, her executor is going to have to deal with both the probate process in Ontario and with the probate process in Florida. That executor will most likely need to hire an attorney in Florida and will have to likely attend any probate proceedings. This is going to cost both time and money. It is possible that Anne's single will, executed in Ontario, may cover her worldwide assets. However, if that will doesn't comply with Florida's legal requirements, her executor is going to run into some difficulties. I have a client who was the beneficiary of her aunt's estate. Her aunt owned property in an overseas country. Unfortunately, her aunt did not have a second will for that property, and her will executed in Ontario didn't conform to that country's requirements. Not only didn't it conform, but that country doesn't have the same processes or standards of getting things done like we're used to. That estate took 10 years to process. Coming back to Anne, she, like anyone who owns property in a jurisdiction outside of where their will is drafted, has an important decision to make. Execute one will that is in compliance with each and every jurisdiction in which you own property, real estate or otherwise. And 2, create a separate limited wills for each jurisdiction where you own property. If you own property outside of the jurisdiction you're a resident of, so for our purposes today we'll say Ontario, speak with a knowledgeable estate planning lawyer. Review your personal circumstances and determine the most appropriate option for you. Now, powers of attorney documents often go hand in hand with estate planning and drafting of one's will. While you're talking to that lawyer about your will, if you spend extended periods of time outside of Canada, maybe you own or maybe you rent property, ask about whether or not you should have a separate and limited power of attorney documents executed where it is that you spend that time. For instance, in the U.S., power of attorney documents requirements can actually vary state to state. Unless your power of attorney document that you signed in your home province meets the requirements of the U.S. state you're in, your power of attorney may not actually be able to act on your behalf. Everyone's home away from home is special. Invest some time now to protect it, yourself, and your family.
Well, Leslie, that's sage advice. Who knew that it could be so complicated if you owned property outside of Canada? We don't know what we don't know until we speak to you or Darren, so thank you for that information. If someone wants to find out more about their estate and how to plan it without complications, how do we reach you?
You can give us a call at 416-863-7501.
416-863-7501. Ask your questions in advance, get your answers, plan and then avoid complications with your estate. And I think your executor will thank you. Leslie, thank you very much for that information. And your website is linked to mine from marilyns.ca. So anyone wishing to contact Leslie or Darren or anyone from the Farwell Group can log on to marilyns.ca, look under On Radio, Sponsor Expert List, and the link will be there. And the number again is 416-863-7501. Thanks again, Leslie. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Marilyn.